Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the tier list. I am Mangan, and I'm joined by the dream team of Collins
How you doing, folks?
and Paddy.
Hello.
And today we are looking at British comedians, some proper funny men and women here. And it's gonna go down the street, isn't it?
Well, we should say, when we say British, we have got an Irish comedian in here.
British
So-
Isles.
British and
British
Irish
Isles.
and Ireland.
The
No
British
Americans,
Isles.
no Canadians, just British Isles. Yeah.
I like how you said no Canadians.
People who have done comedic work in the UK.
Well, no, because there's American comedians who've done comedic work in the UK.
You're right.
But just nationality-wise, that's the criteria here.
But yeah, it's gonna be fun.
One of mine. No, let's just confirm one of mine. Yeah. Okay.
But first of all, how are we today?
Not
Lovely.
bad, mate. Not bad. I've had a good week. Climbed Snowdonia in Wales.
Oh, get you.
Hang on. I want to talk about this because who are these people you've went with? I've looked at those pictures on Instagram. I was sat with Jacob doing while looking at these because we were wondering where you were.
Well, I was with me
I
work.
don't know any of them.
Yeah, I know you do. They're with my work.
Oh, right. Oh, you had a work day out. You've been working for a week.
3 weeks.
Oh, 3 weeks.
What a
sorry.
fella this is.
Mate, I'm straight in there, right in the deep end, right up snow.
Are you gonna leave now? You've had the work holiday. Now you're gonna leave.
No,
Well-
that wasn't really a holiday. That was absolute nightmare. We had an ex-military guy with us who's done it like 15 times, and he said that was the hardest time he's ever done it, like because of the weather conditions and that. So it was a bit of a nightmare,
Lovely.
but well worth it.
I mean, this is mental. Paddy has a new group of friends. I'm not happy. I'm a bit jealous.
Oh, sorry, lads.
Jealous. What are you on about?
Sorry, lads.
Paddy will be sat on his computer when he gets invited the night out, and he'll choose gaming with us over them, and they'll become solid work.
We'll leave. We are
How
going to
dare
force
you.
him to leave his job due to Fall Guys and FIFA.
No, I don't even play PS4 barely anymore.
Oh, listen to this, fella.
I don't.
All right. Before we begin, though, we've got to have a look at the tiers. So, top tier is Comedy Genius. Second tier is Fenny Funny. The mid tier is Hit and Miss. Second to bottom tier is Meh. And the last tier is Can Anyone Else Hear the Grasshoppers?
Personal favourite of mine, that one.
Well, because you made it, that's
You
fine.
chose.
But without further ado, it's Paddy who chose the subject, so let's get him to kick us off.
Well, I don't want to kick this off with a person. I want to kick this off with a quick debate
Oh dear.
because I just want to get this out of the way because I know this is going to come up a lot. And it's the age-old women in comedy debate.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I think it's important for us to do this now is so that we don't come across as like sexist or anything in this podcast.
I figured we could have at least waited until they'd been forced to listen to us for an hour before they think that we're horrible
And-
people, Paddy.
We're not gonna be sexist, but I'm just saying like people can twist words, you know what I mean? So let's just clear up our sort of views on this topic quickly now before we get started. So what's your guys' opinions of women in comedy?
They're funny, but they always revolve around the same jokes about sex and stuff. And it comes a point where it's tiresome. Like, there's a lot of comedians here that talk about things that can be related to, or even to a point of like things you're like, oh, I don't know, you can do that. Like, I was listening to, who was it, Kevin Bridges, how he talks about he expands on things rather than just goes straight to sex, because I think sex, even at this point, is still like outrageous to be talked about. If you get what I mean.
Yeah, I mean it's something that like you joke about with your mates. Kind of, it's not necessarily what you want to hear from like a sort of high class comedian. It's kind of like low level comedy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's weird because whenever a comedian, male or female, when they do something where they're talking about something that's happened to them, like when you get the crazy stories, it doesn't matter who it is. It's sort of it's sort of like it comes down to the level of routine, what you have and how it works. Why there are good women comedians out there. In fact, I mean, I love comedy. Basically, every time we do one of my topics, I choose something to do with comedy. But it can be tiring when you seem to get the same routine every time.
Like, because we know, like, firsthand, there's a lot of very funny women out there, like maybe like we personally know or whatever, like, so it's it's not to do with women. I think it's to do with the people who are selecting them. It's I feel like a lot of women are getting selected to be comedians just because they're women and they're not actually being judged on how funny they are, even though and there are lots of funny women out there, and it's kind of doing them a disservice when you see some of the people that make it in this industry.
It's like Leela in that episode of Futurama where she gets chosen to play Ball because she's the worst player in the world and constantly just keeps hitting the opposition players with the ball, which is but it puts people in seats. And then when the second one comes along, she's actually good. It's like you've made a complete joke about women in sports.
Yeah, I mean, it's the whole like diversity thing. Like, society is not balanced in the right way at the moment. A lot of people are getting where they are to up the diversity ratings rather than based on talent. But like, obviously, diversity is important, but there needs to be a better balance between actually finding talented people who are of like a minority, and I don't think that would be very hard to do.
Like I think it's still a tough world that we live in right now.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I'm fine with it. Yeah, as long as if they get represented, more people go into it.
Yeah, it's true. It's a touchy subject, and
we can slog through the ones that we don't like to make sure that the ones that we do like get their opportunities as well.
True. But I think it was important for us to just get that out there first before we started on this. So yeah. I'll kick us off with an actual person now to actually start the tier list. Why don't we talk about Russell Howard?
Oh, okay, I think you choose a woman if you're gonna make us do all that.
Because I didn't want to like make myself out to be this, feminist, and then be like, oh, Sarah Millican, yeah, bottom tier. I didn't want to just do that. So I'm going to talk about Russell Howard to start with.
Mm-hmm.
Probably one of my least favorite comedians there is. I might surprise some people because if they've seen his show, Russell Howard's Good News, it was a brilliant show, and I think it was brilliant, and he was pretty good on it. But what I'd say was, he was good because of the show and not the other way around. Like, I think anyone could have presented that show and it would have made them funny.
He also just that show was he made the joke, then he made the political speech, and then he made the joke, and then he made the political speech. Of course, people liked it. He was a guy who made fun of the government and then made the joke.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it was a good show. Like, everyone loves seeing like people mess up and then people take the piss and things like that. But ultimately, then you go and look at him on maybe like a program like Mock the Week, or you go see his stand up, and he's just so much less funny in that environment. He's very shouty as a comedian, and to sort of deliver his jokes, he puts on these like funny accents, it's like very childish humor, and then he'll start talking about something outrageous like sex wise, and it's just it's not clever comedy to me. It's very shouty, and it's not fun to watch for me.
I think on those sort of panel shows like Mock the Week, 8 out of 10 Casper's Countdown, stuff like that, I think it gets really overwhelmed by other comedians who don't have to do as much, but they are subtle about their comedy, if that makes sense.
Yeah, like that's a great point. Like Frankie Boyle and like Hugh Dennis and that, they're so effortless in their comedy. And it's like Russell Howard's like a bit overwhelmed by that, so then he feels he has to like sort of shout to be heard. Nah, no, but his comedy style is just more effortless. Like
He effortlessly shouts. Is your
no,
point?
no, you know what I mean. It's like sometimes shouting can be good in comedy because it can emphasize a point or something like that. But there's a point when when it's too much, when it's overdone, and I think Russell Howard overdoes it.
Fair. Yeah, personally, I never really was even a fan of Russell Howard's Good News. Thought it was a really overrated. I'm not a fan of shows where it's just the comedian talking about the news. It's like they've tried to say that, oh yeah, they're too good for Mock the Week now. They're just gonna do it themselves.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I did actually like Russell Howard's Good News. It's not one of my favorite shows ever, but I think it's a likable show because it's just funny to see, people getting the piss taken out of them. It's funny to see like bloopers, kind of things like that. It's a show that it couldn't really go wrong, but that's the thing. Anyone could have done that show as well as he did. He did a good job. I'm not denying it, and he's got like a new show on Sky, and he does a good job with that as well. Yeah, no, yeah.
The exact same.
Well, he also does a pretty good job with that as well. I think he's a decent presenter. And when he interviews people, he's decent at that. There's some heart in the show, which I like. I like him personally, but I just don't think he's that funny.
And then where are you putting him then?
I think I'm gonna say meh. Because I think he can be funny at times. I think his show has helped me up my opinion of him a bit, but overall his stand-up comedy is very poor to me, and it is wit. It's not there. It's not on the level of some of these other comedians.
I agree. I think Meh is probably about right, like you said. Good News. I loved the Good News. I thought it was really funny, but like when he comes to holding his own against other comedians in a big setting, he does get really overwhelmed.
Yeah, fair enough then. Yeah, looks like that's one.
Cool, meh.
All
right.
Mangan, you want to go next?
Yeah, go on. I am going to go with Mickey Flanagan. Right, I think Mickey Flanagan is pretty funny. Like, he does make me laugh quite a bit, and I think he doesn't really go on panel shows as much as quite a few of the others on this list. A lot of his comedy material is from his own stand-up. However, I think that he focuses a lot on one subject, and I think that's marriage. I think he doesn't really expand his comedy as much as it can be. Like, I think he's pretty funny, and I think the comic jokes are like, and the time and delivery of it are really good. But sometimes in comedy, the funny thing about it is that you relate to it in some aspects. But I am 23. I can't even hold
married Mangan.
Yeah, I can't even hold a steady relationship, man. I'm not gonna relate to all his work.
True, but I think certain comedians have like their own style, their specific style. Though I think it is important in a way to have your own style. I think you can definitely overdo some things as well. But overall, I find Mickey Flanagan very funny from a stand-up basis. When he's not on a lot of panel shows, but when he is, I found him funny there as well, which shows he's got a bit of quick wit about him. He's got good delivery. I really like his humor. I think it's very, very clever, very funny. But to me, if you're going to be a comedy genius on this tier list, you've got to like have a bit of versatility. For me, you got to have a few different avenues where you're expressing your comedy and showing your talent, and I think he's only really got one.
But it is pretty good. Like, there is one that I really do relate to, and that's like going on a night out, as he describes it, and I'm like, yes, that is what goes on in the world. But like, I think he's funny, but like I said, I think he has only that one avenue where he really.
You got underwater there, Mangan?
Yeah.
I can't really hear you guys.
That's also definitely a worrying sign.
Yeah, I think I'm having a stroke.
All right then, Mangan. While you're doing technical difficulties, I'll give my opinion on Mickey Flanagan, which is entirely based on meh. I don't really find him that funny. I think he's a bit. I think he's weirdly reliant on his voice. You know, he likes to overly flamboyance his voice at times. It's just anyone can do that. I'm
I
not
don't
wrong
know.
with
Well,
thinking
not
that,
everyone's
right?
got that accent. No, I get what you're saying with that. I think his accent helps. And he overdoes it with his accent to try and, really emphasize the Cockney side of him to try and make it more funny. But I don't know. It's still funny to me, regardless of how he does it.
I disagree.
I mean, they do have that catch, don't they? Like a couple of them we'll see later on is like Mick Flanagan has the Cockney accent. Accents can make things funnier in a sentence, and like I think that might work out.
Yeah, I don't want to downgrade someone though just because of their accent though.
No, I'm not saying that at all. I think sometimes the accent makes it.
Yeah. Some people are blessed with like just voices that help them to deliver comedy, but at the same time, we shouldn't be. We shouldn't knock that really. Funny's funny. Well, I guess it is. People say funny's funny. I guess it kind of isn't because it's very subjective. Because there'll be a lot of people on this list that maybe I find funny, but you guys don't. So I think it's very subjective.
Yeah. All right then. Shall we go to a vote?
I was going to put them as hit and miss.
I was going to put them as meh.
I was going to say
Mainly
very.
because
I
it
was going
says
to. I was going to say very funny. So I guess he's in hit and miss.
Boom.
It's nice when it works out like that.
It is.
It does.
All right,
The
then.
laws of averages.
Yeah.
All right, then. Which one should I bring up next? I'm going to bring up Nish Kumar. He ruins everything that I watch him in. I hate Nish Kumar. If he's on TV, I change the channel. And it's one specific thing, his laugh. He feels the need anytime there is a joke to laugh as loud as possible and smack the table because he's having such a good time and then try and give a witty retort that he yells at the top of his voice to give out.
We should have done
it. It ruins the previous joke and his future joke because it's not even funny anyway.
I think we should have done a racial talk at the start as well.
Right.
No, we're not going to get into this. No, can I say, Collins, I don't think I've ever agreed with you more on anything.
You're so happy to hear that.
I really dislike Nish Kumar. I think his comedy is so childish for a start. Like the jokes he makes, like anyone could make them. They're so unthought of. When he's on Mock the Week, he just gets so like overwhelmed by the brilliance of the others.
Not even on Mock the Week. On Richard Osman's House of Games, he gets overwhelmed, and there's only one more comedian on it.
Yeah, and I really like Taskmaster the show, and he was on that, and he was so annoying. Like the way like he laughs at like his own jokes, and like he tries to be this silly little guy who's like stupid, but it's kind of like it's quirky and funny and that, but it just isn't. And he's just loud. He's annoying. He's obnoxious. He's not funny. And I can hear.
There's only one reason he gets hired, and it's because he laughs so loud. All the other comedians think they're doing a good job when they're sat next to him.
Pretty much.
You thought I was going to get racial there, didn't you?
Actually, to be fair, but yeah. No, I couldn't agree more. What about you, Mangan?
When I was researching him, I only ever watched like his Life of the Apollo stuff. So like it was more I didn't really see the panel aspect of it. He was funny, but not something to make me go like. It was something when I heard one of his jokes, I was like, "Huh," more than anything.
Yeah,
It wasn't like howling. It's a weird one. Like, I don't really like him, and I don't really know how he's got to where he is.
Because he laughs. he laughs and makes all the other comedians think they're really good.
Okie dokie.
It's just I can tell probably he seems like a nice guy, and I reckon everyone in the industry likes him. But
Yeah, I could
it-
see that.
It's clearly got to be that.
But I think one of the most annoying things is that, like, not a lot of people share our opinion, Collins. I see a lot of love for him. I see a lot of love for him.
I don't understand how he's so popular.
Like I watch like mock the week scenes. We'd like to see little clips and that, and then the comment section, everyone's like, "Oh, get Nish Kumar on. He's like the funniest and that. And, oh, he's brilliant when he's on. He's like one of the best." And I'm just like thinking, what is wrong with these people? I don't understand. I don't get what other people see.
It's because they all remember his jokes because he said them so loud they're imprinted in your brain.
Yeah, it's really not for me. But let's vote anyway.
Well, for me personally, it's can anyone else hear grasshoppers? But can anyone else hear anything other than Nish Kumar's voice?
I wasn't making that tier name.
I'm gonna say probably meh because I haven't seen his panel work.
Well, yeah, I'm gotta agree with Collins. Maybe my least favorite on this list. Definitely bottom tier. Can anyone hear the grasshoppers?
Is it me?
So no, it's me.
Yeah,
it's me now.
Oh yeah.
Less people this week. It goes quicker.
Oh.
So speaking of can anyone else hear grasshoppers? Sarah Millican.
Oh, she's awful.
I mean, yeah, she really is, mate. I mean, it's when you see a woman comedian, typically what you're going to see is she either making lots of sex jokes or lots of jokes about being fat. And that's pretty much Sarah Millican's entire act. And she delivers it in this Geordie accent, which is kind of like a stupid Geordie accent where, people maybe find it relatable, maybe likable. But it's just the comedy's so samey, so repetitive, not clever. And then when you see her on like a panel show or something else, like she's even worse because there's no wit there. There's no quick wit. She's just really poor, and she gets completely outshone all the time when she's on those shows.
When I was researching for this, like going on YouTube and looking at old clips, I watched one of Sarah Millican talking about a dog, and the joke ended with her giving the dog her knickers that she'd worn all day.
Jesus Christ.
And to me, that summed up her humour.
I wasn't laughing there because it's funny. I was laughing because it was ridiculous.
It's just gross out humour, isn't it, from her?
I don't like gross out humour anyway. I don't want gross out humour. I want to actually laugh because someone's made a decent joke or made decent observations.
To me, I like comedy where I could see myself just watching it with my family or something, and then having a laugh together. Like where someone's telling jokes like that.
A gross out humour needs to be delivered by a mate, so you're laughing at their expense.
Exactly.
I don't want to laugh at the expense of Sarah Millican because I don't know her.
Yeah. Like that's what I mean. That style of comedy works on a casual friend-to-friend basis, but you want it when you're seeing people who are getting actually paid to do this. You want to see a higher level, a higher bar, a higher standard. You know what I mean?
It is because one of the things I do watch a lot of is 8 out of 10 Categories Countdown, and whenever Sarah Millican's on, it's always the same joke. Always something to do with about a pant region or putting things in her mouth. And it's just like, your life must not revolve around just sex and being fat. Actually give us proper observations. Make us relate to you,
Yeah, and as I said, that when I picture her on a panel show, 8 out of 10 Casters Countdown is the one where I'm kind of that's what comes into my head because I've seen her on that bunch of times, and she's just.
She doesn't get hired for Mock the Week anymore.
She's got no.
When Mock the Week won't even take you.
Oh yeah, and Mock the Week started specifically getting women in to up their quota because they were getting complaints and that. But again, it's another argument. Let's get people who are genuinely talented. And don't get me, there's loads of males that go on Mock the Week that are extremely untalented as well. So it's not just
Russell Howard for 3 seasons.
yeah. So it's I'm not just like picking on them. Like I think people like TV shows, TV channels need higher standards these days.
Like, and
Well-
there's got to be more. There's got to be more women comedians. Get some like who are just starting out, who are actually funny.
Yeah, and I can guarantee there's loads there, but like
Just go to any open mic and say, "Hey,
Like-
kid, want to be famous?"
but the problem is these like TV channels don't want to put the effort in to like try and actually find the right person. They just want a quick and easy option, which is
It's
not
not
right.
what you know. It's who you know.
Exactly. Should we take a vote on Sarah Milton then?
Grasshoppers.
Is there a 6th tier?
No, that's Nish Kumar.
No, to be fair, I actually prefer her over Nish Kumar, but she's still like a grasshopper level for me.
Yeah.
Hate Nish Kumar.
Poor guy.
Hey, look, you know what? I bet you he is a really nice guy.
No,
But
I think you.
I wouldn't even buy tickets to his comedy shows for my worst enemy.
I think you'd struggle to find like many like comedians that are like really not nice people, but at the same time, we've got to judge them on that basis.
I mean, Frankie Boyle.
No, I think he actually probably is like a decent person. Like,
What about Louis C.K.? I know we're talking about British.
no.
comedians.
Listen, I'm not saying every comedian's a nice person. And
Bill Cosby.
Also over there, they're moving. Those American comedians are moving different. I'm talking specifically about British comedians. Like, I think you're not going to find many arseholes. I wouldn't have thought.
Arseholes.
I wouldn't have thought.
Hang on a second, Paddy. I kind of want to.
No, there definitely are some. I'm saying mainly. I mean, you're
Okay.
definitely going to be able to find some.
All
some
right, never
arseholes.
mind. It's all right. It's all right. I was searching a very famous person to see if he was classified as a.
Right,
Jimmy Savile.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all thought the same then. Right, let's not talk about Savile anymore. Let's talk about another paedophile.
Okay. Well, it's my go, and I've got 4 to choose from. Who's more likely? Actually, I can see who's more likely, but I don't want to mention him yet. But I want to go. I was talking a bit about 8 out of 10 cards because I really enjoy it. I'll stick a bit with that. I'm going to go with Sean Locke. Sean Locke is hilarious. Like, he actually makes everyday items be so funny. Like, there's one thing I really enjoy, and that's like a dry humor when it looks like it just doesn't take any effort for him to say it, but it's just so hilarious. Add that to his amazing book, The Tiger Who Went to the Pub.
Mate, his comedy, I just love his style of comedy. It's so like unique. It's so like random. Like, he's so quick-witted with it as well. His delivery's brilliant, so dry, and also his stand-up when he has, when he's not on a panel show and he has to plan it. It's also brilliant. Like, it's such a unique sort of style of comedy that, God, he's one of the best.
It's one of my favorite jokes of all time was when Jimmy Carr asked him what did Sean want to be when he grew up, and he just went, I want to be a fanny magnet. It would have been better. It would have been better, Paddy, if you didn't start laughing as soon before I said the punchline.
So no, sorry, because I knew the punchline in my head and I'd said it to myself in my head and I laughed at it.
It feels like
It is a fantastic joke.
He's a really, really good comedian. I reckon he's the best one on there.
And has anyone? He's on it. I think he's talking about winning Rectum of the Year, and he's like, "I knew I'd won." When it turned around and the 3 judges started throwing up. I literally I'm even just like replaying the joke in my mind. I'm like laughing.
The thing is, he does really good like props as well. When it's like show us your mascot, it's really good. Like my favorite one of that was when he got the first place trophy for what was it, FIFA of the Year. Then he just went, I came second.
Yeah, it's like I didn't know. He's like, I didn't win it.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he's really, really funny. Like I said, he is the star of that show. I don't even care.
Yeah.
It's weird because he still somehow gets you every time and surprises with his jokes, despite the fact you know that they're gonna be just out there.
Yeah. Like he's been around for so long. It's hard. It's so hard to be fresh as a comedian. Like fresh new jokes, and he's always doing something more like unique.
Before, like at Tin Cats, I'd never really heard of him. So like he's done well to keep like you said, keep it fresh, keep it good, and he is very funny.
Has anyone seen the roast of Bruce Forsyth?
No.
Well, I'm not going to talk about it, but I'll let you watch it sometime. Sean Locke does a roast of Bruce Forsyth. And it's hilarious. Go watch that at some point.
I didn't know British did roasts, to be honest.
It was like back in the day. They did like a roast. I don't know, they were doing like a celebratory thing for Bruce Forsyth, but they had like a comedians coming in roasting him. It was like a bit of a funny thing, and he was hilarious.
I just thought it was something that you got Jeff Ross to do in America, to talk about someone awful.
Well, no, it's definitely more of an American thing, but
I think British humour is more refined than American comedy. I know that's a complete
great. We've reached the holy trinity, guys: sexism, racism, and xenophobic.
No, but ultimately the reason
America's awful.
I wanted to do British comedians because I don't think I've ever seen an American comedian that I found funny. So, like, to me, they'd all be bottom tier. And, oh God, bad time to hiccup that. No, but with the American comedy thing, it's like, it's just pure outrage comedy in America. It's just who can say the most outrageous thing and who can say it the loudest. And that's not funny to me.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I've been watching someone lately who I've really enjoyed, and that's Dave Chappelle.
Dave, hang on, good point. There's a great American comedian for you, Dave Chappelle. He'd be in Comedy Genius, as would Key and Peele.
Yeah, Dave.
I do like Key and Peele, but I think like American sitcoms and that are very good. Like in
Key and Peele stand-ups.
No, I haven't actually seen their stand-up, but I do like their their shows and that. Like I'm not saying like American comedy's bad. I think like American stand-up comedy is generally bad. In particular,
I mean, their latest batch should be just awful. Like the latest comedians to come out. Like, this isn't like 10, 15 years ago when you had like Chris Rock and what's his name?
Chris Rock.
Yeah, Chris Rock. It's pretty funny. Oh, there was another one I completely forgot about him.
What's he look like? What's he been in?
I can't even remember, man. I had two decent ones, and it's just completely gone from my mind, mate.
Patrice O'Neill.
No.
Thought I'd throw that out there. We've really gone off on a tangent here. We talking about Sean Locke.
Yeah.
We
got roast the Bruce Forsyth, which turned into hang on, that's a pretty American thing to hang on, aren't Americans horrific.
Well, let's bring it back to Sean Locke, and let's vote on him.
What the hell? Comedy Genius, why not?
Oh. Paddy?
Comedy Genius for me, yeah.
Okay. I was putting him very funny because I've got one who I thought was I've got someone who I thought was better than him. But
I am scared at who your Comedy Genius is.
You bigged him up, man, and I thought you were going to put him Comedy Genius.
I wanted to, but I didn't.
Yeah, there's one that I wanted to put Comedy Genius, but because it was lack of versatility, I didn't.
I mean, I knew who my Comedy Genius was from the start.
Oh, so did I. But there was also another guy that I wanted to put there, but didn't quite make the mark. But we'll see him in a bit. Who's goes and now's yours, Collins?
Yeah, it is. So I'm gonna talk about Milton Jones, a man who only does one-liners.
Well, is there that much wrong with that? Because they are good one-liners.
See, that's the thing, though. It's just also we obviously talked a bit about this when we were talking about Mickey Flanagan, but you can be in your niche, but it's very limited to you. Milton Jones only does one-liners and has messy hair.
Well, what do you think of him on Mock the Week?
I think he sits still for 5 minutes, says something funny, and then you don't hear him for another 10 minutes.
But I agree. But that's not always a bad thing because some comedians can be a bit overpowering.
Yeah, but it's like saying your favorite character in Father Ted is the drunk priest.
Which one's okay.
Father Jack, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was wondering for a second.
It's like, it's like saying Father Jack's your favorite character.
But at the same time,
he goes, here's you, and then he goes away.
At the same time, though, Father Jack is funny.
Yeah, but would you ever really But I mean, are you ever really going to rate him as top tier?
No, I'm not saying Milton Jones is top tier.
Yeah.
But like, I still think he is a funny comedian. He does make me laugh. I like him on Mock the Week. He brings something new to the table. He brings a unique style of comedy. In his randomness, and I think his one-liners are also good, and his delivery is good. As you said, lacks maybe the versatility to be.
Yeah. I think
top tier.
One of the main things to talk about is when I was thinking top tier, my mind was going. They have to have like a standout thing that I can think of when I think their name. Milton Jones, I can't.
Yeah, true.
Is there a Milton Jones one-liner that you can just remember?
Of course not. He's just very forgettable, I think.
Exactly. It's just that because that's what one-liners are. They get you a laugh and then they go away.
Yeah, I mean, I get your points.
Is stand-up's good? Stand-up's good, especially if you like the one-liner style, and I'll say it now. Actually, I'm being really harsh on him with the way I'm saying. I actually still rate him as hit and miss, but there's nothing special there.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's probably a reason he hasn't had like a bigger career, like in terms of like
he doesn't even make it to any other panel shows other than Mock the Week.
He has really dropped off over the past few years. Like I think it was like 2015, 2016 when it was at his peak.
Yeah.
Doing like now he's just like he's gone. He did make me chuckle back in the day, but he's never really been one for me to like look up if he has any shows coming up to see if I can go.
Well,
he's one of them.
Yeah, I mean the one-liner style of comedy. I like it. It's good, but it's not my go-to.
Yeah. I think then there you go. We've basically all said what we think he is then.
Yeah. I mean, I was kind of caught in the middle between very funny and hit and miss, but you have kind of tipped me towards hit and miss with your points. I like to keep an open mind.
Yeah, I obviously said hit and miss is the way I saw him.
I mean, yeah, I've got no chance, have I? There's two hit and misses. You're still
allowed to give your honest opinion.
To be fair, I think I was mixing it up between meh and hit and miss. You know what? I'm going meh.
Well, hit and miss. Hit and miss is. I think hit and miss is fair.
Yeah, probably. All right then. So we go right back down to Paddy.
So since I was talking about the guy that I wanted to put top tier, but I haven't. It's Kevin Bridges.
I knew you were going to say him. I actually knew you were.
In terms of stand-up comedy, right? One of my favorites ever. Like, I could make an argument that he's my favorite ever as a purely stand-up comic. But what else does he do? That's the only thing. Like, he's so good at that one thing, but you very rarely see him in any other avenues. He doesn't have his own shows. He very rarely appears on panel shows. When he does, he's pretty funny. In interviews, he's pretty funny as well. But ultimately, I think he also has fell off. Like last couple of years, like you don't see him much these days. But ultimately, when you see his stand-up and his tours and that, oh my god, his comedy is so brilliant. It's so unique. The jokes are so clever. Like he's so good at that one thing, but it is literally just that one thing with him. So I couldn't put him top tier.
I like him. I really do like his work. You talk about like having some relatability. Like when he talks about the things on a night out, you see about 2 or 3 think of them sort of things happening, and that's what I enjoy about it. Like it is relatable. You do have a laugh, and like I said about Mickey Flanagan as well, it's the accent as well. It's something different. It makes it sound better in a sense than if it was just a regular old accent, I reckon.
Yeah, to me, he's just a knockoff Frankie Boyle, though. He's just slightly less controversial. Now, that's clearly because they're both Scottish, but it's just how I've always felt.
I don't see him as a knockoff Frankie Boyle. I think his comedy is less outrageous to me, and it's funnier to me. I do like Frankie Boyle, but it's more relatable humor. This, and it's a bit more clever and less outrage comedy with Kevin Bridges. And just some of his jokes have just made me howl over the years, like the one about him being at the bus stop and getting mugged by a guy who wanted to quit, by a guy who only wanted £1. It's one of the funniest jokes you'll ever hear delivered. And yeah, he's very funny for me. That's my vote.
Fair enough.
Out of curiosity, for a comedian, which do you think is the best British accent?
Fun.
It's a good question.
Yeah.
Possibly Irish.
Accent.
Possibly Irish.
Not really a British accent.
Ed Burns in here.
Are we talking about Northern Irish?
British Isles. British Isles.
If any Irish people listen to this and think we're going to invade because of this podcast, we're gone.
Oh yeah,
that's it.
For these Scousers, we're gonna lead the invasion.
We could do most funny and least funny accent. So I'd say like sort of like an Irish or a Welsh are the funniest for me, and then the least funny is like maybe like a Cockney or a Geordie or something.
No.
Funny accent is Brummie.
Did you say the only funny accent is the Brummie?
No, I said the least funny.
Oh, thank God! Thank God! No, I actually find Cockney, like Mickey Flanagan, makes it sound good, like that sort of stuff. But Brummie is just. Sorry if there's any people from listening from here, but Brummie is just the worst accent.
It depends how thick it is, you know. Because I think Frank Skinner is very funny, and he's got a Brummie accent, but it's a bit lighter.
No, isn't he from West Brom?
I mean, it's the same thing, really.
So it's the outskirts, so it's not as thick. Like yeah. I'm talking like people from Dudley and stuff.
Well, what I'm curious to know what you guys think is like the funniest.
My
accent.
Because I'm hilarious.
I do enjoy a good Scottish accent. Like, but sometimes, where would you say Sean Locke's from? Because he's got quite regular, but it's delivery, isn't it?
I'll talk amongst yourselves. I will give us a quick research.
I mean, I think accents in comedy are overrated, to be honest.
I think it does do good sometimes.
If you're a good comedian, it doesn't matter what you sound like.
I think it's possibly true, but I think sometimes if you say something in a Scottish accent, it won't sound as funny as in, say, a Geordie accent, if that makes sense. Like, it's the pronunciation and it's the delivery of it all.
Okay, so Sean Locke is from Chertsey.
Okay, where's that?
Which is sort of it's actually right next to where Thorpe Park is. Kind of London ways, kind of like outside of London.
Thank God, because we'd have been mugged off if you said he's from Birmingham.
It's kind of like outside of London, like more towards like Woking and Slough kind of ways. So yeah.
We'd have been so mugged off if you said he had a Brummie. He was a Brummie.
It's definitely.
Sean Locke worked 3 months as a goat herd for a hippie in the mountains of central France.
You know what? That's enough to make you funny. doing a job like that.
I want to know how he applied for it. Did he walk up to the farm or was this on
Yeah,
Indeed?
well, considering it's a hippie, I'm going to assume he did just say, "Hey, you got some work going, mate." He said, "Yeah, man."
I wonder who went on
You'd be a
Indeed.
goat head. Except he said it in a French accent.
Oh,
Probably the French language.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We would like to apologise for that insulting stereotype of an accent that Daniel Mangan has just done. He does not represent the views of the French for the tier
Of the
list.
French. He doesn't represent the views. When I went un baguette, I didn't think I really spoke out for French interests.
Baguette, frog. That's the level.
All right then. Yeah. Who were we talking about?
Kevin Bridges.
No, genuinely.
No, Kevin Bridges.
No, it was Kevin Bridges.
Kevin Bridges. Hit and miss for me.
I was going to say very funny.
Yeah, very funny for me as well.
We can't all agree on all of them.
I can do a good Scottish accent as well.
Go on then.
Please don't.
Oh, no, Paddy, no. You
What?
know
You can't say that, and then I go.
No, I'm sorry. Richard said he had a good Yoda impression, but we didn't have that last episode.
Not in the
Yeah, we
podcast though.
Oh, the podcast.
Actually, I think he did it.
He did do it in the podcast.
No, which one did he do? There was another one.
It was Jar Jar that he refused to do on the podcast.
That's right.
No,
Did
you
Yoda
can't say, "Oh, I do a good Scottish accent," and then not. You brought yourself into that.
You know what? I'm going to set a challenge for the audience listening to this.
Hear that, all 10 of you.
Yeah, if we get 10 comments in this episode, or like subscribers or followers, and like
10 of it.
Mangan, you
Yeah.
know I'm petty enough to make 10 accounts.
I will do
I'm gonna buy some bots.
one of the next episodes in an entirely Scottish accent.
Oh my
Then, in
god.
that case, I reckon that tier list has definitely got to be Scottish attractions.
You know
Oh
what?
my god, and it has to be a Scottish-based podcast.
You know what? No, I'm not doing 10, 100.
100.
Yes.
As if
Oh,
that's
so that's never happening then.
no, we've got to bargain this down. How about 20?
How about 75?
25.
75.
25.
No.
I've played Football Manager for 4
All
years.
right,
I know
50,
the art of the
50.
deal.
50. Do you have a deal at 50?
I'm trying to see how long it takes for you to set up a YouTube account. See how long it takes for Collins to waste his time. 60.
All right. How much the bots cost?
All right, 60. Deal at 60. 60 what though?
60 everything. 60 followers on Twitter, 60 followers on Instagram, 60
Oh, come on.
and 60 views on Anchor.
Like altogether,
Sponsors.
like altogether or individually, like add
I've got to be
60.
individual. I regret this so much now.
No, you won't because we're not gonna get that. But I mean, a very good prize if we did.
The thing is for me Scottish accent, I always have to start it with the wrestler Drew McIntyre to get like the good. So Drew McIntyre, like I've got to go like that sort of way.
Yeah, that's kind of like with anything. Like if you want to do an accent, you just like get us like a specific word that's like easy to say in that accent, and that just kind of starts you off and gets you in the rhythm.
I highly regret doing this now.
Wait, we're not gonna get those numbers anyway, so.
Sorry, so what
Did you
is
hear
it?
that?
What is it that we've got to we've got to reach for him to do it?
Well, we have to gain 60 like subscribers on like everything. So Twitter, Instagram, YouTube.
Spotify,
That's
Apple.
not fair. Mangan's in charge of the Twitter and Instagram.
No, we're not doing all Spotify now. There's like 9 different flipping accounts we're on for the audio only podcast.
Buy real YouTube videos.
Now let's say 60 YouTube subscribers, 60 more Twitter followers, 60 more Instagram followers in the
Connor.
next month.
Cody, it's only $6 for 1,000 YouTube video views.
Is it?
Yeah.
I will be looking at.
That's views, though. That's views.
Well,
That
why
was
are we talking about buying bots on the actual video?
because
No,
we're not sad enough to actually do it.
That's a
and
great
really
idea.
it's not a good idea. But we're building this from the ground up
Yeah.
in,
But anyway,
in a very professional way.
should we move on?
Yes.
For the love of God.
All right, Mangan, your next choice.
Speaking of accents,
Pop.
we've got our Scouse accents on because we're from Liverpool. And we'll get another Scouse accent in John Bishop.
Wait, you guys aren't putting your accents on.
John
What?
Bishop is not funny.
You had it here first.
Actually, slightly funny. But the way he puts off his Scouse accent is just so
Wait.
bad.
What do you mean he puts off? Like,
Well, puts it on, really.
So the exact opposite of what you first said.
Yeah.
I don't think he does put it on.
He does.
I just think that's the way. I think that's just how he actually sounds.
To be fair, it's the thickest Scouse accent in the world.
But I like the way, because he takes pauses after like every word he says. I think that emphasizes it a bit more.
Like, I don't find them quite that funny, really. Yeah, you say he has like a proper strong accent. Even though he was born in Liverpool, he spent most of the time at Runcorn, which says a lot.
Is your argument of why he should be rated down is because he says he's a Scouser when he's from when he's really a Wool?
No, it's more the fact that he's just not really funny, and the accent he tries. I think he tries to do it in a sense of like how I was saying before. Sometimes the accent makes the joke, and I think he tries to use that way too much.
I don't mind John Bishop. I can see why people don't find him funny. I think maybe because I'm from the same place as him, I can relate a bit more to the accent and to the jokes. I liked him when he was on League of Their Own. I don't think he was outstanding on it, but I think he added something. I've seen his stand-up before. I think it's been relatively funny, but I can also see why people don't like him.
Well, yeah, he's just. I used to like him, and then as I was watching him in like panel shows and stuff, he just got less and less funny. And I don't think he's really caught that form again that he used to have. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, slightly get your point. Did you guys know he was in Skins?
Skins?
Yep.
Not in the first two series.
No, 3 and 4.
No, I stopped watching after the first two series because they changed the cast.
As did everyone.
Like I didn't even give the third series a chance because I was like, nah. I just know it's not gonna be any good now.
Did you know he was a footballer?
I
He
did,
played
yeah.
for Hyde and Southport.
Yeah.
Oh, so you too are on his Wikipedia page.
Not the highest level, but not
I mean,
not
it's more
unrespectable.
than we ever made.
Yeah, but to be fair, he was playing in an era where it was probably a lot easier to get on one of those teams. But not knocking it.
His brother played for Tranmere, Chester, and Crewe.
Listen, he's a typical Scouser who's pretty funny to me, but I could see why maybe the rest of the country don't find him as funny because they might not relate as much.
Yeah, my entire point is the exact same. I think he has his moments, and I think the accent does help, but I'm not actively seeking him out.
Yeah, and you don't hear from him much these days as well. That's the thing. Like, I think the ability to stay relevant in comedy is something quite important, and he hasn't managed it, I don't think.
Yeah, it's. I think we should vote here. I think we've said our pieces, unless anything else says anything.
Nah, I think comedy is one of the hardest industries to stay relevant. That's what I wanted to say. But as a vote, I was going to say probably hit and miss.
I was going to say meh.
Cons?
I'd probably go hit and miss. Yeah.
Mhm.
God. Damn.
Interesting.
Not a fan of that one, are you, Megan?
He's just. I used to find him funny, and he just lost a bit of it. And yeah, I haven't really enjoyed him since.
Fair enough. All right then. I am gonna talk about another mock the week staple. You can tell where I get my comedy from. It's Ed Byrne, everybody.
Woo!
Darrow Bean's best friend, which is probably why he's the most booked guest star.
I thought he was a captain.
No, he's just on it all the time.
He's just the most booked by about 20 episodes.
But
It's like they might as well just say he's a permanent one now.
I
Especially
think
with every other permanent one leaving.
I think of all the non-permanent guests, I think he's my favorite.
Oh yeah, definitely
So
helps.
I'm
definitely
glad.
helps.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, getting back to my point before with like, you know, the best comedians have one thing that you can always think back to with them. To me, with Ed Byrne, it's always the when GTA came out and they were talking about that on Mock the Week and said, "No, I haven't been playing GTA. I've been playing Farming Simulator."
Oh, that episode when they have Andy Murray on as well. Oh, it's just that scenes we'd like to see. It's brilliant.
Yeah, but they spent 10 minutes talking about Farming Simulator, and we've played Farming Simulator.
And
Yeah,
we also
of
lasted
course.
10 minutes.
Well, that's because Mannion turned into a tyrant and kicked us out of the farm multiple times, Paddy.
It was fun. It's the best time I abused my power. Yes, but
Yeah.
was it worth it? Absolutely.
Very serious farm leader, man. Don't mess with his crops.
Yeah.
Funny enough, it was over by like 5 days in when we realised that 15
Like
boxes
everyone.
of eggs, 15 boxes of eggs aren't going to pay for a rent.
I mean, like, yeah. I mean, if you're thinking of playing Farming Simulator and you think, you know what, that might actually be all right. It's not. It's very boring. I know you can probably predict that, but it genuinely is a very boring game.
Yeah. But yeah, Ed Byrne, even his stand-up's very good. He does a great job of playing to the audience as well as playing to himself. For instance, when it was like Michael McIntyre went on to I think he got invited into the Queen's box for Wimbledon. It was like, when he found out, he's like, oh, his wife looked at him and went, if you were just a bit more funnier, could have been us.
Yeah, I love his like self-deprecating humor. I like it. I love his delivery. His comedic delivery is like one of the best in the business. I love his quick witness on Mock the Week, and I've seen his stand-up before, and it's also great.
Yeah, he's just a fantastic comedian, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agree, Megan?
He's meh for me. In all honesty,
How
I've
dare
never really watched his panel stuff. I was doing research for the pod today, and wasn't that good in my opinion.
You've never really watched his panel stuff, and he's been in 60 episodes of Mock the Week.
Yeah.
Have you ever watched Mock the Week?
Yeah, that's the thing. I know I've seen episodes with him in it. It's just never really resonated with me. It's like,
I think if you went back now and looked at like some of the scenes we'd like to see with him involved, you'd get it a bit more.
that's that thing again. Does the accent make it?
But it doesn't matter. I don't think it matters.
No, I'm. This is more just a point I'm bringing forward rather than questioning him.
Of course, the accent helps with like the delivery and that, but like I just don't think it matters. Like I think funny, he's funny, regardless of whether he's lucky enough to have an accent like that. Like I think that's irrelevant.
I think I've laughed when I've watched him perform. So
I mean, that's always a good sign for a comedian.
yeah, there's a couple more here who I'll say no to. So yeah,
All right, then where are you rating him then, Mangan?
I'll go hit and miss because haven't seen enough of the lad, so go right down the middle.
All right, Paddy.
Very funny for me.
Yeah, same. One of my last two is 100% better than him, so I can't put him at comedy genius.
I'm just thinking about what Mangan said. Like he has someone who's got comedy genius. That isn't Sean Locke. I think I know who he's going to put there, and that worries me. But anyway, I'll move on to the penultimate. Well, actually, the final women comedian on this list out of two. Both my suggestions. I think we were reluctant to put some women on here, like, to because we didn't want to get criticised, be called sexist.
Actually, looking back, what do you think of Holly Walsh? Because I think she's a good comedian.
No.
Who's Holly Walsh?
No, not for me.
She's
the short blonde hair, small.
I'm looking at.
I don't rate her at all.
I quite like her. There we go.
I'd probably put a hit and miss, to be honest.
To be fair, from where Sarah Millican went, that would rate her quite highly.
Nah, okay, but I did want to talk about Jo Brand because I think she's been a bit of a sort of pioneer for women's comedy. Like, maybe the most famous UK women's comedian, and one of the first. And generally speaking, like, she does follow the same kind of rule of comedy about sex and being fat and that. However, it's at least delivered in a way that can make you laugh, and that can be funny to hear. Unlike some other people, but I think you've also got to respect that she is a bit of a pioneer for women's comedy, and I think she is pretty funny. She does have like quick wit as well when I've seen her on panel shows and that. But it again, we're bringing it back to the whole only having a couple of topics of jokes, which is why I couldn't put her in one of the top tiers. But I don't think she's also one of the bottom tiers either because of her.
However, would you say that because she is the sort of pioneer for women comedians, the material that she used was fresh in a sense?
It's a good point. You could say that. I mean, to be honest, I don't really know because I don't know sort of what the comedy scene was like when she was starting. But I imagine like she's had a lot of like difficulties to face at that time, like trying to get noticed. So I think you've got to respect her for how far she's come. I think she's got talent.
I also think she is more than just sex and fat jokes. I mean, if you ever seen her on QI or Would I Lie to You, where it's a bit more beyond just actual comedy. She's done some great work on that on QI. She comes off as quite intelligent.
Yeah, I think she is, and I like that. That's another thing. But I think on her stand-up routine is very, follows that fat and sex rule, But her panel work doesn't as much because she has like a quick wit about it, unlike a lot of the other comedians on this list. So I think she's able to carry herself better in that way, and she doesn't look out of place on these shows.
Yeah, I really enjoy her work, to be honest with you. I think she's a really good comedian, and to start off, I think I'm going to stick with that argument. The fact that she was the pioneer of that sort of fate of women's comedy in Britain, really, I think gives her the sort of ability to have them sort of jokes. If you get what I mean, yeah.
I completely get what you're saying. Like, because you could say a lot of women comedians who came after her were just kind of copying her in a way, and so it's more their problem than hers because that was sort of her style originally, I guess.
But that's the thing. We discussed Sarah Millican. Jo Brand has different modes. She has the really intelligent and witty side on QI. She has the ability to make people laugh using props in things like Taskmaster or something.
Yeah.
and she has the good stand-up routines where I love her voice because it's so sarcastic and
Yeah,
like
her
fresh.
voice is just her voice is just an entire part of her routine.
Yeah,
Everything
like-
is really
Really good.
good. Sass.
like her
Sarah-
delivery is very good.
Sarah Milligan has one setting: sex and fat jokes, and that's
That's
all
two
it is.
seconds, mate.
That is all rolled into fucking one. Like that's all it is. Catherine Ryan, another comedian who is on a lot of British like panel shows. It's all about like kind of sex stuff, and it's like she is the pioneer, Jo Brand.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Cheers, guys.
Well, there's not an else really to add. I think we've picked her up enough. Do we want to vote?
You know what? I'm gonna call her very funny.
yeah, I say very fun as well. Also, Catherine Ryan's quite good. I'll have you know.
Nah.
Nah.
Nah. I can't say nah enough to that.
Catherine Ryan is so much more than sex jokes.
Hmm.
She
Nah.
isn't fat, so you can't say she's fat jokes.
Nah, but even the jokes that aren't about that is just awful.
All right, well, that can be a discussion for another day, considering she's not on the list.
She was until about
She
half an hour
was
before.
until I realised she wasn't British.
Well, she's based in the UK. She could have been.
Yeah, maybe I should have said that. But
Also, this is a British Isles list.
look, Canada's not in the British Isles, is it?
No, but based in the British Isles.
Yeah, maybe I should have said based, but you know, it doesn't matter. I was going to say hit and miss with Jo Brand.
Yeah, well, you've been outvoted.
For the better.
That's fair enough. I don't mind that too much. I mean, putting her next to Ed Byrne on that, they look the same. I don't know.
Mother and son.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
It's the same classes and everything.
I just put it next to Ed Byrne on the tier list. I was like, they literally like look the same. It's funny.
Oh,
Anyway.
I've changed my mind, you know. I think
What?
I've decided to put Sean Locke as my comedy genius. I think I've literally just decided it like 2 hours later.
Well, that's good.
Oh,
All
no,
right,
you've
then.
done this under
Well,
peer
it's you,
pressure.
so why don't you talk about the person who's not your comedy genius?
Don't be peer pressure, dear Mangan.
I wanted to put Lee Evans.
Oh, I knew it.
Don't you like him?
What a shame.
Don't you like him?
What a real shame.
Well, you can answer or not.
I'm not going to say I don't like him, but I'm also not going to say I like him.
I think he's one of the. Maybe it's nostalgia because he's probably one of the first real like stand-up routines I've seen. But he always used to make me howl. Like I would laugh so much at his jokes. Like, and some of the things that he come out with, I thought were hilarious. Like he's quite reclusive in a sense. He doesn't really do panels. He does his stand-up and he does a few movies, but he's fully retired now, hasn't he?
Yeah, he retired a bit ago, yeah.
Like, I think...
Thank God.
Oh, no.
He's not for me, mate. I'm sorry. I think he's just so over the top. And, like, there's a time and a place to be a bit crazy and be a bit... It's just because you're being loud and you're being crazy does not mean you're being funny.
I think his routine's more than that, though. I think it's a lot more than that, and you'll admit on.
There's no, don't get me wrong. There's some things where I watched in it where I laughed.
But and also at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if there's more to it. If everyone leaves and they only remember that.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of really what stuck out to me was him, like sort of the energy he put into the set. I mean, you see him like he sweats like a pig, like on that stage because of all the energy he puts into it. But it's just too much for me. Like
To me, I'm entirely on Paddy's side here. Hyper energy works in a TV format, not on stand-up. The biggest example to me is Harry Hill. Like Harry Hill's TV Birth, one of my favorite shows ever of all time. Grew up watching that every week at my nan's house.
Yeah.
But because I liked it so much, I got bought as a Christmas present once Harry Hill stand-up. Fucking garbage.
I'm not having you compare Harry Hill to Lee Evans, man.
Well, no, Lee Evans is
My
better than
word.
Harry Hill. But it's the point. But it's the point that I'm trying to make. It's like energy works in certain circumstances, and just being and if all I can remember of you is that you were really hyperactive energy, I can't remember your jokes.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the jokes weren't that brilliant. It was just they were getting laughs because of the way he was delivering them, which
And he had a funny face on him.
was a bit crazy with his a bit crazy with his expressions, his voice, things like that. And sometimes that's fine, but when it's done so frequently, it gets tiresome. And he's not that. Sometimes he is funny to me. Sometimes he's not funny to me, which is why he's a hit and miss for me.
I was going to put him as very funny.
I was going to say hit and miss as well.
I think you've done him a bit of it. I think it's better than what I thought you were going to put him. I thought you were going to put him as meh.
No, because as I said, I don't dislike him. I think he can be funny, but I also think he can also not be funny. So he is very for me, I think I made the hit and miss tier based off of Lee Evans.
All right, fair.
Wow.
So that comes down to me. I am going to talk about Jack Whitehall. To me, this man, I don't know how he has made it so far.
Oh, thank God! Oh, I thought you were going to like him. I was getting really worried then.
Fucking hell, mate. No, Jack Whitehall. I don't know how he's got so far in comedy.
Because he's a posh white boy.
Yeah,
I'm
but
sorry, that's it.
it's just one of those where he seems to just get opportunity after opportunity given to him. Like he's now on League of Their Own. In what world do you think sports-based comedy show and put Jack Whitehall on it?
No, he's the head of one, isn't he?
He's not on League of Their Own anymore. But to be fair, I actually quite like Jack Whitehall on.
No, you talk about
On
shouting
League of Their Own.
doesn't. You say that shouting doesn't make things funnier. He shouts a lot on the panel shows, and none of them are funny.
No, I actually like. I think the way his relationship with Freddie Flintoff and the way he bounced off James Corden.
It's the delivery of the shouts, man.
No, but I actually thought I don't like his stand up. It's not funny to me. But I did like him on League of Their Own.
His stand up's not funny. His panel work.
His delivery is about as good as.
It's passable on a good day. He's a good actor though.
Yeah, and you gotta
go do TV and movies properly, and leave stand up and leave comedy behind.
Honestly,
he's a decent actor.
To me, his delivery is about as good as the Domino's driver going through your house.
You've got to respect his work ethic. Like, look at all the different avenues he's been involved in. There, like stand-up comedy.
He's getting off.
No, but also like he's also wrote his own shows and that. Like he wrote Fresh Meat.
Yeah.
And he wrote Bad Education. I don't like Fresh Meat, to be fair.
Oh, Bad Education's awful as well.
No, I like Bad Education.
We talked about Fresh Meat on one of our podcasts, on one of these podcasts. Briefly, it wasn't a topic, but it got brought back in. And you said you hated it.
No, yeah, I know I don't like Fresh Meat, but I know a lot of people do like it. So like,
at least he wrote something I didn't like.
No, but I know it was quite popular. A lot of people did like it. It's not for me. No, but I did like Bad Education, which he also wrote.
Yeah.
That's
like,
about it.
When he's actually in a sitcom format, I quite like him, but it's only that.
I think he's another one of those like famous people that where it's just like he's everywhere. Like you kind of get sick of. It's like Ed Sheeran. Like you get sick of seeing him. Like I mean, there's talent there, but it's like you don't want to see someone like every day, like on every platform that you go on. Like too much of someone is not good for you.
Yeah.
I just don't rate him. I never really have. He's one of those that are like meh. But that's it, meh. That's my vote there.
To be fair, yeah, that's where I was going to put him.
No, I was going to say hit and miss because I think he's very overrated, but I think I also really respect like all the different things he's done with with stand up, like Netflix shows. He's been in films, TV shows, wrote his own shows. He's been on panel
Yeah,
shows.
but we're not looking at writers.
Yeah, TV shows and movies, they're not comedians things, they're acting things.
No, but like comedic acting, I think is still a part of being a comedian.
Yeah. And and like I said, I think he's good at that, but not at anything else to do with a comedian.
So we put him in there.
Yeah.
Where he belongs.
I mean, I'm not mad to see him there, but
Alright, I'm proud of
Just
you.
disappointed.
oh, it's my last pick. Get in. Well, I mean, if anyone disagrees with me on this, I'm going to be having fights with you all. It's Lee Mack, who I've, of course, put Comedy Genius. Because there's absolutely no argument. His stand-up is incredibly funny, if you've ever seen it. On Would I Lie to You, he's unbelievable. He's probably the most quick-witted comedian in the world. I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah.
Like he's wrote his own show, Not Going Out, which is still it's still going on today, and I think in the early stages, for sure, it's a really funny show.
That show has gone on too long now.
Yeah, no, well, it stopped. They stopped doing it, and then it got brought back, which I don't think it needed to get brought back. To be fair, but in its prime, it was a very good show, and you got to give credit for that. He's also hosted his own show, Duck Quacks Don't Echo. I don't know if anyone's seen that.
Yeah, that's actually really good.
I actually thought that was a really underrated show. Didn't sort of get the credit it deserved, but he's just brilliantly funny on everything. His comedy's so clever, the quick-wittedness, his versatility, his stand-up is brilliantly funny. There's nothing he can't do in comedy.
Yeah, I think he's probably the best comedy improv on this list.
Yeah.
Maybe Sean Locke gives him a run for his money, but
yeah.
But I mean, even then, I'm still I'm the betting favourite's Lee Mack.
Yeah.
Do you know where Lee Mack's from?
Southport, yeah.
Yes, that's pretty funny. That, to be fair, for those listening who have no idea about Southport, it's about a 20-minute train ride from where we are.
Posh as fuck.
Yeah, Tory, Southport.
These days, anyway. I like Southport.
Probably not when Lee Mack was growing up.
Yeah, I like Southport because he's very working class. No, I actually like Southport, to be fair.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good day out.
It is. Would recommend. On a sunny day though. On a rainy day.
Yeah, especially for our viewers in France, Denmark, and the US. Head to Southport to have a listen.
I'm sure these Americans were thinking about going to Southport.
Well, they might hang on. They might come to Liverpool because you got to love the Beatles, and then if you're already in Liverpool, you might as well go Southport.
Okay, if you ever come to Liverpool, Southport is a good day out. There you go. But make sure it's good weather.
Nah, because if it's raining, you just go bowling.
Yeah, but you can go bowling in other places like that. The main attraction of Southport isn't bowling.
Guys,
go bowling anywhere.
Guys, I've just checked my Santander. We got the 200 quid from Southport. Let's move on.
Oh, did we? Nice. We're on the tourist board for Southport. Someone had to do it.
No one else was.
Anyway, yeah. So Southport, you've got the pier, you've got the arcade.
We're still going on about that. We're not talking about Lee Mack at all. We're talking about the attractions of Southport.
That made me chuckle because I wasn't expecting. Carry on.
Well, I haven't even got onto Southport's main attraction, which is the Lawnmower Museum.
I thought you were going to say Splash.
Have you ever seen the Would I Lie to You episode where Lee Mack, on his card, it says this was something he donated to the Lawnmower Museum, and they did a whole section on that. That's quite funny.
Good segue, mate.
I like the miniature village as well. We still talk. We'll still talk about Southport. This is the rest of the podcast now.
Man, Jesus Christ, this is the most publicity Southport's ever got.
Yeah, but that's because I mean we've covered everything about Lee Mack. He's just fantastic. There's nothing else needed to be said about him.
I mean,
not going out has gone on too long. I mean, for God's sakes, now he has kids in it.
Yeah, I mean, it's still watchable, but it definitely didn't need to come back.
It doesn't help. It's lost every supporting actor originally in it.
Oh yeah, like Tim Vine and the other girl who was really good in it. Like, yeah.
Well, at the end of season 1, they lost the love interest, which is always a good start to your show if you lose the love interest. She left. Then Tim Vine, the next person to leave, although I think, to be fair, he stayed around for like 4 seasons. They replaced him with Hugh Dennis. He's now gone.
Oh yeah, to be fair, Hugh Dennis was like, very good replacement.
Yeah. And again, whatever the ditzy woman was called, because that was her character.
Yeah, the ditzy woman. Yeah, she was good. No, but I still think they've got some like good characters in there. But I agree. Like, I don't think it needed to come back. Maybe I think he could have like wrote a different show and brought that on the air if he wanted to do something else.
To be honest, genuinely, it's just if it was fine as like a one-off special where you could see, oh look, the couple that you were rooting for got the happy ending. Now it's become outnumbered, but the kids don't swear.
Yeah, true. And another thing about Liam Mackey, he's actually like a half decent actor, like comedic actor. And he's been in like movies. He was in like a Horrible Histories movie or whatever. That was in cinemas and that. And he was in like he was in cinemas and that though.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying he's like George Clooney, but
I would hope not. He's shit.
Yeah, no, I probably could have picked someone better there, but that was the first name that came into it. But he was in Doctor Who. He's in an episode of Doctor Who as well. One of the newer episodes. So like he's got some acting ability as well.
Yeah. So yeah, should we just put him in Comedy Genius?
I mean, yeah, there's no doubt for Comedy Genius. Get in. I think we're finishing on 2 very interesting comedians here.
I think we have a shit sandwich with good comedians as the bread.
Ooh.
Oh, thank God. I thought you were about to say some harsh words to James Acaster there. Talk about Michael McIntyre.
That wobbly-headed fuck. It's not funny whatsoever.
Oh, that's nonsense.
But you like Lee Evans.
He is not funny whatsoever.
No, that's nonsense. Listen, I'm not saying Michael McIntyre's.
How is that nonsense? The man is not funny. He's funny because he moves his head about.
No.
Again, but you like Lee Evans.
Lee Evans actually puts humour into his stuff.
No, Michael McIntyre. Michael McIntyre has, out of all of these comedians, has by far the best comedic delivery out of all of them.
Oh, behave, Paddy.
His comedic delivery is outstanding. I don't care. Like, his jokes are not that brilliant, but he makes them brilliant because his comedic delivery is so outstanding.
Behave. The man is so mediocre and overrated. It is useless.
No.
I actually can't believe that.
I can't believe you. I could understand people thinking he's overrated, but like, I just his comedic delivery is fantastic. Like whenever he's branched out into something else, like Britain's Got Talent or his own talk show, it's flopped. I get all that. I get all that, but I think his stand-up is very funny, like, because his delivery is so good.
I'm sorry, no, he is not funny whatsoever. The man's just so bad.
No,
I don't like him, but you can't deny Mangan. He's the face of British comedy.
For some reason, the same way as Jack Whitehall is getting gigs for no reason.
Here we go. It's a conspiracy from the rich to control comedy.
He's so bad. He is shocking, man. I don't know why he's like how he's got his chances.
I can understand maybe you don't like him, but like I mean being very overly harsh.
I refuse to be no, because if I was overly harsh, I'd say I hope he died. I think that'd be overly harsh.
No, because you're like, I mean, look how popular he is. He's that popular for a reason. You can think he's overrated, but
he's good, old, family friendly. He's the cleanest comedian you could probably ever see.
He spent 5 minutes talking about how he swat off wasp away with his hand. How is that funny?
But exactly. It's again, not mate, funny.
You
it's
like
not
Lee Evans.
It's again, but it's not.
Because I'm allowed an opinion.
Those jokes aren't funny, but it's the way he delivers them that makes them funny. That's why he's so good from that aspect.
There is no chance. The man's
Also,
nah.
physical comedy is a thing, mate.
Yeah, physical comedy is massive.
What's his physical comedy? Him moving his head more, so he'd probably get whiplash after the end of it. Don't I?
No. If you ever see him do the routine about him going to the dentist and that, you don't get better delivery than that on this list.
You do. You listen to
How
anything by
dare
Lee
you?
Well, I mean, there's no point in even arguing because we're not going to like agree on this.
Yeah.
But ultimately, my view on Michael McIntyre, that his jokes are average, but the way he delivers them makes them good. But he's not versatile, so he's not top tier for me. So very funny is my vote.
Holy fuck! I actually can't believe that.
You
No
can't believe
way,
Michael
man.
McIntyre is very funny, like the most popular British comedian.
Yeah, by far the most popular.
I can't fucking believe that.
But you can't believe the most popular, famous UK comedian I've put in very funny.
Yeah, Jack Whitehall's famous and probably one of the most popular. Doesn't mean shit.
I mean, it does. You're popular for a reason. You're allowed to have your opinion.
The thing is, Jack Whitehall's popular mostly for his actual sitcom and acting work, not because of his actual comedy.
Yeah, like Michael McIntyre.
Michael McIntyre doesn't do acting. He's just known for his comedy.
Yeah, he only does stand-up comedy, yet he's like the most popular. Like, reputation's not everything, but it has to be respected.
Yeah. To me, he's hit and miss. Don't worry, man. He's not getting him very funny.
Can anyone else hear the grasshoppers for me?
What? The grasshoppers?
He's just so bad, in my opinion.
Ugh. Well, I'm not putting him there. Where does that average out at? Is that
Between hit and miss and me.
I'm putting him in hit and miss. I'm I'm not having him below average.
Of course, sure.
Grasshoppers. I thought you were at least going to say meh.
All right. Well, all right then. Before you guys start having a fight over this, I'm going to talk about the future face of comedy, in my opinion, and one of just possibly my favorite comedian, James Acaster. Has this man ever said anything that isn't funny?
I mean, has he ever told anyone that his mum died or anything? That might be seen as not funny.
Yeah, but to be fair, if James Acaster said it to me, I'd still probably laugh. He's just that good.
Then you're a prick.
I am. James Acaster, he's fantastic stand-up. He's fantastic panel. He's done a little bit of acting as well, and honestly, he's not that bad at not that bad at that as well. Obviously, I think like most people probably know him for his panel work. Would I Lie to You? He's quickly become one of the favorites as well as Mock the Week, because the things that have happened in James Acaster's life are just incredibly stupidly hilarious. I mean, probably the most famous one is the Cabbageon.
Has anyone seen him on Ricky Gervais's podcast or his radio show, Sirius FM or whatever?
Yeah.
He has James Acaster on, and it's one of the best episodes ever because James Acaster's like some of the stories he has, like about him like crashing his car like 3 times or something like that, and then like about like the worst gig he's ever done. I'm not gonna like tell you the story because it won't be as funny coming from me, but go listen to that episode.
The worst gig he's ever done the one about his lead singer?
Oh no! I mean comedic gig.
Oh, a comedic gig.
Yeah, like he did it at like this like camp thing. And you've got to watch the Ricky Gervais thing on Sirius XM. XFM? What's it called? I don't even know.
Well,
Sirius something.
That's the name of the radio station, mate.
Okay. But just YouTube it because it's on YouTube anyway.
Yeah. But speaking of like YouTube, he does something with Ed Gamble. someone who we very much could have made this list, called Just Desserts, where Ed Gamble's got type 1 diabetes, so he can't unfortunately eat a lot of sweet things. So the entire point of the entirety of it is Ed Gamble picks something, James Acaster eats it, and then they just talk about what James Acaster thing is tasting, and it's hilarious.
Nah, yeah. It like, as I said, like, he's not just good on like comedic panels. His stand-up's good. He's versatile. His style of humor is like couldn't be more unique if you tried. Like, I mean, I've never seen anything like him. Like, his delivery is just so brilliantly unique. His stories are amazing to listen to.
Yeah, he's pretty good from what I've seen of him.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed his work. He seems like a pretty funny comedian.
Have any of you watched his Netflix 4 parts comedy special?
I think I've watched like the first episode of that. It was good.
Oh, it's fantastic, all of them. My favorite one's probably the joke. If there's one thing, is there. I think I've heard quite a lot of his routines over again. Like, he seems to he seems to have used quite a few of them again and again on different formats. So it's like he's I've heard them on Mock the Week, I've heard them on his comedy special, and I've heard them on Would I Lie to You, which is a bit worrying. It's
I think a lot of comedians do that though.
But
like...
yeah, a lot of comedians do that, obviously, because it's hard work coming off with fresh comedy all the time. But it's like, it's still slight concern. But it's like he's ready to eat apricots. It's like, you know what, you are what you eat, because when I bought them, I was ready to eat apricots. It's like, he then goes on to something like a member of the crowd saying, what the hell are ready to eat apricots? They're just dried apricots. Like, well, why you just call them that? It's like, fair enough, I'm going to do the joke again, but in this guy's perspective. I bought some dried apricots, and you know what? You are what you eat, because I was dried apricots.
Great. Like, it sounds so silly. Like, if you watch like him for the first time, you'd be like, this guy's crazy, this guy's insane. But like, when you watch him a lot, you just get his style, and it's just brilliant.
It's simple, it's silly, it's out there, it's ridiculous, but it works every time. And like, if he's on TV, then I'm watching.
Yeah, and I think it's so hard, like, these days, to break into the comedy world and like become one of the biggest comedians. And like, he's done that. Like, he hasn't been on the scene for that long, comedically, but he's managed to break through and like rise to the top pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And with good reason. So yeah, let's give a vote on him.
To me, he's comedy genius.
Mangan?
Very funny. I haven't seen too much of him to really go into the claim. I've researched him and he seems pretty funny, but not enough to tip it over the edge.
And the deciding vote for me, comedy genius.
There we go.
Lovely. And there we go.
That's I can't believe Michael McIntyre's made it that far up.
I can't believe Lee Evans is that high up.
He's good.
I mean,
he's better than Michael McIntyre.
Nah.
All right then. So go on. That's it. We're done. We've done them all.
I'm happy with that list. Actually, I'm quite happy.
That's a successful list. I'd
maybe want Michael McIntyre, Mickey Flanagan moved up a little bit, but I'm not too fussed.
Yeah.
Right, Mike. Do you want me to do the outro?
Before you kill yourself.
I nearly have. My legs are killing me right now. I've been doing non-stop work all week rather. Right, guys, thank you very much for listening. This has been an excellent little episode, apart from that wobbly-headed fuck being said.
Again,
remember, guys, that is not an opinion. That is literally not an opinion. It's like saying, cheese.
No, you're calling Michael McIntyre a wobbly head, but you're like Lee Evans who wobbles his head.
Oh, it doesn't matter. We're never going to agree.
I've completely gone out of topic.
You were outroing, Mangan. You were outroing.
Yeah, okay. Remember, guys, to like and subscribe to this video. Remember to check us out on Spotify, Anchor, our great sponsors, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Breakcast, Radio Public, Overcast, and a few more. Follow us on Twitter. Send us suggestions about whether you want any ideas for the channel in the future. Again, please like and subscribe. Thanks for listening. This being the tier list, and we'll see you later.
And please like and subscribe, just and comment, just to make sure that Mangan has to do a Scottish accent for an episode. Bye.